From tee-off to his 18th green, Andrew Mlangeni's life was like a full round of golf. The revolutionary with a penchant for the game was born on the 6th of June 1925 in Prospect Township, south of Johannesburg. He was the 9th child in a family of 14. At age 12, he had to start working odd jobs to help his mother following his father's passing in 1936. And that's when his lifelong love affair with the game of golf began.
In 1937, I was a caddie, and I was a caddie because my mother was very poor. She couldn't afford to buy me, a school uniform. So I became a caddie. At the time, we used to get 9 pennies for 9 holes. No, over 18 holes. 9 holes was 4 pence. But then if you're a good caddie, you get a ticky tip, so it becomes a shilling.
He was a son, or he is a son, of a labor tenant, farm tenant, and he grew up in those conditions. Self-taught in terms of golf, and he became a caddie. Had it not been for prison or other engagements, political inclinations, he could have been one of the best golfers.
Mlangeni attended St. Peter's Secondary School, where he obtained what was then known as a junior certificate in 1946.
St. Peter's College is the school in Rosettenville where Oliver Tambo matriculated and went to Fort Hare, came back and taught at that school. So people like Advocate Dumanokwe were his students there. Many, many leaders of our people came from St. Peter's College.
Unable to continue with his studies, Mlangeni found work as a factory worker and later a bus driver for the public utility transport, PATCO. His experiences of worker exploitation arguably sparked his political awakening. During this time, he was involved in a strike seeking better working conditions and a living wage.
His interaction with the people, that in itself made him to be so passionate about the people's needs, to resolve the people's problems.
From this point on, there was no turning back. First came his membership of the Young Communist League in 1945, the ANC Youth League in 51, and ANC in 54. At the adoption of the historic Freedom Charter in Kliptown in 1955, Mlangeni was a branch delegate.
The policies of apartheid, policies of separation of races, yet we all belong to the human race. We all belong to the human. There's no white race, no black race. We are a human race. We all belong to that.
I must have met him for the first time in the 50s, maybe the later part of the 50s. It was as a member of the Communist Party. Both of us were members of the Communist Party, and that's when I can recollect meeting him for the first time. And over a period, of course, our relationship increased, of course, and we came to know one another better. From good times to bad times, we were together.
1960 was a momentous year in Mlangeni's life. The merciless slaughter of unarmed civilians in Sharpeville triggered a series of events that led to the formation of the ANC's armed wing, Umkhonto weSizwe.
There are many people who feel that it is useless and futile for us to continue talking peace and non-violence against a government whose reply is only savage attacks on an unarmed and defenseless people.
While the story of how MK launched officially in 1961 has been related countlessly, Mlangeni's pivotal role is hardly ever highlighted.
He was amongst the first 6 people to be trained in China for the MK, Umkhonto weSizwe, amongst the first 6.
The party sent 6 of its members. One was already abroad studying, Vela Pillay, to China for military training. And these 6 were Raymond Mhlaba, Wilton Mkwai, Joe Gabi, Andrew Mlangeni, Patrick Mtembu. Yeah. 5 of them were sent to a place called Nanking in China. For 6 months, they went there and received military training.
His diligence and commitment to the cause earned him the nickname Robot, a name christened by the late Walter Sisulu.
Where does that come from?
No, I would rather not go there.
There's a story there.
I would rather not go there. I would rather not go there.
In fairness to him, it was not derogatory. The word robot must have come about because he accepted what is required of him. What instructions were given by his superiors, he accepted them without question. And that's how I think the word robot arose.
Upon their return in 1963, Umkhonto weSizwe's High Command was established, headquartered at Liliesleaf Farm in Rivonia. This is also the same farm where the so-called ANC 19 were rounded up in July of that year.
Andrew Mlangeni wasn't at Rivonia, but because he was part of this group that trained there and part of, Raymond Mhlaba was part of the High Command and so on. So Andrew Mlangeni and Elias Motsoaledi served as the link between the structures and the High Command at Rivonia. And so they were brought in. They were arrested outside of Liliesleaf, and they were brought in to join the rest.
Although he was arrested separately from his comrades, Mlangeni was to be charged with sabotage and promoting communism during the much publicized Rivonia trial, which started in late 1963 and ended in mid-1964. At the start of the defense's case, Nelson Mandela delivered a historic address from the dock on behalf of and with the full agreement of his co-accused.
That speech was made on behalf of us, the accused.
I have cherished the idea of a democratic and free society in which all persons will live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an ideal for which I hope to live for and to see realized. But my Lord, if it needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die.
It was a sacrifice that offer of him, as far as the public is concerned, that offer of being prepared to die for who? For the people of South Africa, for the oppressed people of South Africa, for the country as a whole. I'm prepared to die if need be.
When his turn came, Mlangeni also chose to make his own statement from the dock.
He emphasized that, okay, he was not actually influenced by the outsiders, the communists, but the conditions which actually undermined his people, shaped his political inclination, strengthened his resolve to end that system, the tyrannic system that confronted his people. That is why he was willing to die for those ideals.
Andrew is one of the many cadres who were committed to the struggle. And I think he and others like him joined the struggle with open eyes, knowing what the consequences could be. And the consequences, the least of which were bannings and imprisonment. But then, to take it to its logical conclusion, it also meant death.
Convicted on all charges, Mlangeni and the other Rivonia accused were sentenced to life in prison. A sentence that uprooted him from his wife and 10 children for 26 years. He spent 18 of those years on Robben Island and the remainder at Pollsmoor Prison. Mlangeni was released in October 1989 as the winds of change blew across South Africa. Following the first democratic elections, Mlangeni was elected as a member of parliament, where he served until retirement in 2014.
To him, being a member of parliament was enough to him. He embodied that understanding and spirit that, the struggle for liberation was not for self-aggrandizement and upliftment, but for the people.
He maintained one thing, that his freedom was intertwined with the freedom of the masses of this country. He had children. There were times when he regretted, but never a single day, if he was given a chance to choose a revolution over his family, would have chosen otherwise, because he never saw his family as isolated from the rest of the South African family, of the African family.
A colossus of history, Andrew Mokiti, Comrade Robert Mlangeni, now rests in peace, his life journey complete.
Yeah. I've satisfied you. I'm sure.